Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. Well, you're almost at the end of the course. The very last thing we have to cover off before we go on to compliance is the AWS Systems Manager EC2 run command. Now, we haven't actually covered this in any of the associate courses, so this might be completely new to you, or you might use this every day in your day-to-day jobs. But essentially what the EC2 run command is it allows you to manage a large number of EC2 instances as well as on-premise systems. And essentially, it allows you to automate common admin tasks and ad hoc configuration changes. So these could be things like installing applications, applying the latest security patches, joining new instances to like a Windows domain. And you can do this without having to log into each instance individually. You can do this at scale. So you can do this to 10 instances or 100 instances or 1,000 instances. And it makes sense, right? If you've got 1,000 EC2 instances running your production application and you need to make sure that Windows updates have been applied, you don't want to have to RDP into each instance. You want to do this from the console in a way that's completely scalable. So let's go ahead and have a look what this looks like in the AWS console. Okay, so here I am in the AWS console. Now, Systems Manager, you will see, has a really nice UI under Management Tools. So if you just go down to Systems Manager, you can see it in here. And you can also actually see it if you just go over to EC2 and you click on the side, you'll be able to see Systems Manager down here. So you've got your Systems Manager services and you've got your shared resources. You've got the run command in there. But it doesn't give you as a nicer UI. So you can click in here and have a quick look at Systems Manager. In order for Systems Manager to actually go ahead and work, though, you're going to need to create a role. And we're going to need to apply those roles to our EC2 instances. So let's go back to AWS before we get stuck in, and let's go over to IAM. And what we're going to do is create a new role. So click on roles and then just go ahead and hit create role. It's going to be for EC2. So click on EC2 in here and you'll see it down here, EC2 role for Simple Systems Manager. Go ahead and click on that and then hit next for your permissions. So because there's only one option, there's no checkbox. So just go ahead and click on there. You can have a look at the policy summary. You can have a look at the JSON. Once you're happy with everything, go ahead and hit next review. Role name, we're just going to say role for SSM and go ahead and create the role. So that will now give you a role for SSM, which you can see in here, and we're ready to go ahead and launch our EC2 instance. So let's do that first. We're going to launch an EC2 instance. I'm going to use a Windows instance for this. So let's go ahead and click on Launch Instances. It's going to scroll down and we're going to grab our Windows base image, so 2016 base image. Go ahead and click on that. Do a T2 micro. Leave everything as default, but add in your role for SSM. So we have that role applied. Next, we're going to add our storage. We'll do 30 gigs for the root device. Add some tags. Now you can add tags here, and it's quite important for when you're using the run command, you can base it off tags. So you could have a tag in here for something like, I don't know, run command. Or SSM might be a better tag. So is SSM enabled? I don't know, whatever it is you want, and then value as yes. So let's go ahead and add in our security groups. I'm just going to use an existing WebDMZ security group. So perhaps this is a web server. Going to go ahead and review and launch. It's giving me an error because I've been mostly just using Linux machines. So SSH is open to the world, but RDP is not. This is actually a good error to have though, because technically we don't want RDP access for this lab. We want to be able to just to do things through the run command. We don't want to actually have to RDP into anything. So let's just go ahead and leave that for now. And then I'm just going to scroll down and hit launch. And I'm going to create a new key pair because I actually have no idea where my Windows key pairs are, or the key pairs for this particular account. So I'm just going to call it my Windows key pair, and I'm going to go ahead and download that. And I'm going to go ahead and launch my instance. And so that is now launching. When that has come up, it's going to take a couple of minutes because it is a Windows instance. But once it has been launched, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the systems SSM portal, and we're going to use a run command. So I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, so that instance is now live. If we go back to our services and we go down to our management tool and we go over to Systems Manager, let's go ahead and hit Run Command, which is in here under our actions. So just click on Run Command. That will then take you to this splash screen, and you just can click on the Runner command. I think what we're going to do, let's just pick a random one, maybe configure CloudWatch. Scroll down in here, you can see a target, so it's already being picked up, and you can do it manually selecting your instances or by specifying a tag. I'm going to do it manually and just click on this instance that we have just provisioned. You can see the instance ID in here. In here, you've got some different options, so you could put in the configuration for your CloudWatch in JSON format. I'm going to leave mine as blank, and in here, it's just a note about what it is you're doing. So let's just scroll back up. We're configuring CloudWatch, so let's put that in here. Configure CloudWatch. And then down here, we've got a whole bunch of different options. Ones to note are SNS, so you can enable an SNS notification, so you could have it send you an email once this has been run. And there's also this, which is pretty cool. So this is the actual AWS CLI command that you could use to do what we've just set up in the console. So if you do want to just get the command to reuse later on, so you don't have to go back into the console, that's the command right there. Once you're happy with everything, just go ahead and hit run. Now this can take some time. It will say overall status in progress. I'm going to pause the video, probably be about 15 to 20 minutes before I come back. I'll let you know. And then hopefully everything would have run successfully. So what are my exam tips? Well, commands can be applied to a group of systems based on AWS instance tags, or you can go in and select them manually. The SSM agent needs to be already installed on all your managed instances. It does come with that base Amazon AMI for Windows Server 2016. The commands and parameters are defined in Systems Manager document, and commands can be issued using the AWS console, the CLI, AWS tools for Windows PowerShell, the Systems Manager API, or the Amazon SDKs. And you can also use this service with your on-premise systems as well as EC2 instances. Where are you going to see the run command in your exam? Well, basically, you want to go in and update, let's say, some security patches, and you want to do this at scale. How would you go about doing that? Do you script it? Do you log into each instance individually, or do you use the run command? Well, it's much easier to update instances at scale using the run command, but do bear in mind that your instances need to have SSM agent enabled, and they also need to have that role assigned to them, allowing your permissions to talk to those EC2 instances. So just understand what the Systems Manager run command is at a high level, the fact that you need that role installed, as well as having the agent installed on the instances as well, and that you can apply them to the instances by selecting them manually or by looking for specific tags. So I'm just going to refresh the page. It's been about 5 or 10 minutes, and there we go. Overall status is now successful. So we have basically provisioned an EC2 instance. We've created our role. We've assigned that role to the EC2 instance, and then we've been able to go in and run commands against that EC2 instance. It has been successful. We haven't had to RDP into that instance at all. In fact, we didn't even enable it on our security groups. So AWS Systems Manager can be really useful using the run command, using the patch manager, using maintenance windows, state manager, etc. But let's go through what you need to understand about Systems Manager for your exam. So that is it for this lecture, guys, and that is the very last lab in our course. Congratulations, you've done really, really well getting this far. The next lecture, we're just going to summarize everything you've learnt, and then you're ready to go ahead and book your exam and hopefully go ahead and pass it on the first attempt. So if you've got the time, please join me in the next lecture. Thank you.